Hey guys, what's happening? So we are back for Ultimate Wolverine, issue 4, where now as a result of Kitty Pryde helping Logan out by fracturing the systems in Logan's mind that were set in place by Directorate X to control him, he now has a pathway to freedom. But taking this path is going to be a fight, both mentally and physically. But he might have some help coming around the corner, and you'll see what I mean in a little bit. So let's get into it. But first, if you're enjoying these videos, be sure to drop a like, subscribe if you're new to the channel, and don't forget to hit that bell up top to get all notifications. Alright, so in Ultimate Wolverine issue 4, right away this throws us into Logan's mind, where we basically see him as this lone wolf fighting his way through the systems that Dr. Prostovic had placed in his mind to keep him under control. And it's a 3-part system that we'll learn more about in a little bit. But as Wolverine's fighting these mental barriers, so to speak, he can also hear the different scientists around him freaking out because his physical body on the outside is also reacting to this as well. But what's crazy here is how Logan reacts to what they're saying, because as this continues, the things that we see Logan saying, they start to overlap the words of the scientists, meaning that he's getting closer to regaining his conscious mind. Though unfortunately, he's only able to get so far with that. But at first, while these scientists are freaking out and trying to get him sedated, some of the first words that Logan remembers are the words from Kitty Pryde back in issue 3, when she reached into Logan's mind and asked him, "Why don't you remember?" And what we learn now is much like what we saw where that was depicted as glass shattering with all these different memories from Logan's past. This was actually her shattering the barriers that are being used to control Logan. And I don't even think Kitty was fully aware of what specifically was used on him, but with her reaching into his mind, this was like her taking a hammer to whatever wasn't supposed to be in there, knowing that Logan could take it and he would recover, and just hoping that the real Logan would come through after these barriers are broken. But with her doing this, she's basically created a path for Logan's true self to come back to the surface, because now after getting Kitty's help, these scientists really only have 1 out of 3 methods, with Kitty fracturing the second 2. So just to run through what those 3 are really quick, the first one is the sedatives, which is basically what we're seeing this wolf, Logan, fight against visually. And these scientists say they've even given him enough to take down King Kong, but Logan's not going down. And the second out of these 3, which sounds like 2, but these both are numbered 2 since Dr. Prostovic said so. But the second is re-education and manipulation, which is basically what you would expect from a Winter Soldier program as far as the process of retraining Logan's mind. And then finally for number 3, there's telepathy. But again, these scientists, they really only have the sedatives, because when it comes to option 2 or 3, which are your re-education and manipulation, or telepathy, there are few people who have access to using them. So in the here and now, with the sedatives not working, you have one of these guys who just keeps saying, "Where's she at? Where's Dr. Prostovic?" since she's the only one who has access to the other 2 methods, which basically works like a system of pillars where if one fails, then the others have to compensate. But while Logan is making his way through this fractured system in his mind, there's a part of this that also pertains to his physical body, with his heart rate dropping and his blood pressure bottoming out. So one of these guys is like, he's going into cardiac arrest, we gotta get him out of the chamber. Meanwhile, another scientist is like, no we don't, we need to make sure the guards get here first. And that's where the one who said let him out, Scientist Blue, I'll just call him that for the sake of the discussion. But looking at Logan's vitals, this dude's like, if he dies, do you really want to explain that to the Rasputins? And at one point, Scientist Blue asks Green, how much sedative did he pump into the chamber? So Green tells him 800 milligrams of phenobarbital, because that's what they've been giving him. So when they go to open the chamber, the orange scientist, who this whole time has been like, nah, nope, I don't want no parts of that, he's telling Blue they need to wait for the guards. So Blue just tells him to activate the Sentinel, though unfortunately none of these guys can, because only Dr. Prostovic has the access key, which is a really messed up system if we're completely honest here, because these scientists don't have access to nothing but some drugs. But at the same time when they open the chamber, in Logan's mind, we see him go up against this huge white bear. And as he does, on the outside, Logan's vitals go back up to normal. And there's a bit of a parallel between what's happening on both ends. Because in Logan's mind, when he attacks the bear, it basically just smacks him down and it walks away. While on the outside, Logan's staring these scientists down, he's standing up, and you have Retskova, or Scientist Blue, who keeps saying, oh, it's fine, the chamber will hold, while at the same time, he doesn't sound too sure about it. So he tells Green to give him more of the sedative, while internally, Logan's getting ready to go after the bear again, as he remembers the different things that he's been called, like Relentless, Survivor, Hunter, and Specimen, which all eventually overlap with the 3 names that Dr. Prostovic mentioned in Ultimate Universe 1 year in, where as far as she knows, his name has went from Logan to Specimen to Winter Soldier. And as this continues, these single words that Logan's able to say here, in his mind, they eventually evolved from Logan and Specimen, which were the names that he's been called, to other words that describe who and what he is, as well as some other things that he's been called. But in Logan's mind, as he goes for round 2, he also goes off on the outside. And this is where he gets closer to regaining full control of his mind. Because now as he's attacking both on the inside and out, which are both still very disconnected, because Logan's only able to form single words at this point, and just in his mind at that. But as he does, and he's killing people on the outside, in Logan's mind, his words are now starting to overlap all the other scientists. Even though in his mind, the wolf gets knocked to the side again, but even still, he keeps on trying. And now when Logan gets to this stage, his mind is almost free. More words are coming together, images are forming in the snowy mist, and all he has to do is get past this bear. But also at this time on the outside, this is where Dr. Prostovic finally arrives. And I mean, at this point, one of the scientists have already lost his hand, but either way, the doctor's there now. So she starts saying things like, Winter Soldier, stop. I command you to stop, while also telling the remaining guards she can control them. And right now, even with Logan making all of this progress in his mind, when the doctor says Winter Soldier, again, that's who Logan sees in his mind, as he continues to fight while saying animal, merciless, relentless, weapon, Logan, Logan, Logan. But when Dr. Prostovic says Winter Soldier, Sputnik, he just freezes. And when we step outside of his mind, we see the laboratories looking like a Jackson Pollock painting as a result of Logan nearly getting his mind back. And the only way that Dr. Prostovic was able to stop him is because some of that re-education and manipulation is still intact. And again, with this bloodbath, it wasn't like Logan was actually in control. Because while we were watching what was happening on the inside, with Logan relentlessly fighting to regain control, on the outside, he just seemed like a mindless animal, where every and anyone in his way was a target. But right here, after the doctor gets Logan to stop, she tells one of the guards to chain his hands, and this dude just looks at her like, you want me to do what? And it looks like he's about to ask her, are you sure that's safe? Because I'm sure this dude wants confirmation, affirmation, two-step authentication that he won't end up like everybody else they found in this room. But nonetheless, she tells him, do what I say, and he does it. Which from here, this has the doctor taking Logan to the third point of control. And she talks more about this system on the way, when another scientist steps in, and he's like, what happened here? I was under the impression that the Winter Soldier was controlled. And that's when she tells him something happened on the last mission, something in its brain. Maybe a chip got fried. Either way, we need to reestablish control. And at first, this guy thinks she's talking about more of the sedatives. And this is where Dr. Prostovic tells him, I am talking about her. It's never been about one point of control, but 3. Sedatives, re-education and manipulation, and telepathy. One levee breaks, another holds. As she goes on to say, whatever tether is still there, we must have her reinforce it. So right here, once again, Dr. Prostovic's one of the very few who has access to where they're heading, which is destination Cerebellum. And I imagine aside from her having access, it would just be others like their leaders, the Rasputins and Arcady, because even now this other scientist is like, you gotta be sanctioned to go down there. So Dr. Prostovic just tells him that she'll ask for forgiveness later, because they really can't take the chance of all of the systems that are controlling the Winter Soldier just completely breaking down. And as they go further in, the other scientist, he's like, a tight enclosed space deep beneath the earth. With this monster, what could possibly go wrong? But what's crazy to see here is that this is basically their version of Cerebro. And as they go further, the scientist is like, I've never been this deep inside the Kremlin. And Dr. Prostovic tells him, be glad you haven't. Good things do not happen here, Sergey. Not at the center of the earth, which almost makes it seem like she's portraying this place to be like a type of hell, which is a crazy combination to think about. And when they go inside, she turns on the lights and she tells Logan, here's the solution to your problem, Winter Soldier. Whatever you did out there nearly severed our link, but we can fix that. She can fix that. The Phoenix specimen. She will fix your broken mind. As they walk in here and find Jean Grey, the ultimate Phoenix, with the brain of Charles Xavier just above her. And we learn a lot more following this, because next we're shown a classified transcription of Dr. Prostovic's private dictation logs, where she goes on to say a few notes on Cerebellum, Xavier, and Phoenix Grey. The Charles Xavier body remained in the freezer beneath the Kremlin for some years after his death, under the purview of Directorate X. Nobody quite knew what to do with it. I had read the files concerning the Xavier specimen and found them to be captivating. Between Eric Eisenhart, the so-called Magneto specimen, and he, they could have controlled the world. Their powers seemed to be boundless, beyond imagination. Thus, they were deemed Omega-level mutants. None of this class currently exists, and the one known specimen who does resides in Republic control. There is strangely very little written about Xavier, Eisenhart, or Omega-level mutants. But what little there is, I've used to further my studies on Homo Superior and their further application for weaponization in service of the Eurasian Republic. I received proper clearance, of course, and proceeded to remove the brain from the Xavier specimen's body. It seems that in life, Xavier's body was tragically weak, while his brain was, in turn, massively powerful. If it was preserved well enough, I figured I could use that powerful brain for Republic purposes. We also had in our custody the Jean Grey specimen, who we have nicknamed Phoenix Specimen, in reference to her latent abilities and possible extraterrestrial possession. I covered this extensively in the Phoenix designated file. See also the Poltava incident. However, the Phoenix Specimen is so supremely powerful, it is a necessity to keep her fully sedated and controlled at all times, confined to the cerebellum. She is fed and hydrated intravenously with the minimal essentials to survive. Due to her inactivity, her muscles have atrophied to such an extent that it renders her body useless. Even if she, this all-powerful figure, did break free from the cerebellum, how could she escape when her legs would surely not carry her? The Phoenix Specimen necessitated a certain amount of suggestion, as she must remain in a sedated state. It occurred to me that we may be able to utilize the Xavier Specimen to control her further. Hosting the Xavier Specimen, rather, its disembodied brain, high above the Phoenix Specimen in the cerebellum, we allowed it to soothe, direct, and amplify the Phoenix Specimen's abilities through targeted electrical impulses. It is the perfect system, really. We control her, and she, in turn, controls the designated specimens. Further amplification is provided by the spherical shell of the cerebellum itself. See Cerebellum designated file. We have, thus far, utilized the Phoenix Specimen to control Ursus, Krolenko, and Petrovna specimens, to varying success. Where we have had our greatest success has been with the Winter Soldier specimen. She seems to calm him in a way the others do not experience. I shall look further into this anomaly. So yeah, we kind of know what she's gonna find there, as far as why Jean is able to calm Logan and not so much the others. And I gotta say, man, it's kind of crazy between what we're seeing in this as well as Peach Momoko's Ultimate X-Men run, where in that case mutants are basically being manufactured, in addition to the whole mutant cult thing. And it's just like, man, on Earth 6160, things are dark for the mutant population. Or what's left of it, I should say. But yeah, if you enjoyed the video, drop a like and let me know in the comments if you think the progress we saw Logan make will cause something different to happen, this time when he's taken to Jean. Will she fix the link, or will she take advantage of what Kitty started? Let me know what you guys think. And so now real quick, I want to give a special shout out to all the patrons. Thank you guys for all of your support. And for anyone who's new here, who wants more information on how to support the channel, I got a link below where you can go to patreon.com/dopespill. But that'll do it for this one, guys. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below, and we'll do it again on the next one. Alright, later.